Salesforce datatable component for screenflows had a couple of weaknesses. Among other things, they didn't support editable fields. That was one of the most important weaknesses that people complained about when they wanted to switch from a custom UnofficialSF datatable component to the out-of-the-box component. Now, with this release, Salesforce told us that they are going to start supporting editable fields, and they will also allow the user to sort by column. We have not really seen that in our preview orgs early on, but now, today, we have received that functionality in our preview orgs, and we were able to play with it. And I have great news. Not only does the datatable component now support sortable columns and editable fields, it'll support Boolean, text, email, phone number, and currency, multiple field types. And among those, for me, the number and currency are huge improvements, because a common use case that I always see is when the user wants to review the opportunity line items that include product selections, and they want to make changes to multiple rows on the same screen. And when they want to also add additional products to the opportunity line items, they would want to specify what the price is going to be for each item and the quantity. And all that now can be done on the same screen thanks to the new functionality. And the user can also sort by columns. And this is also a big improvement. Now, without further ado, let me just jump into the use case and show you how I built my flow to support all this, because there are a couple of tricks I used that you may not think of initially when you're trying to build a use case like this. Let's say we want to recreate the opportunity line item experience using screenflows. Maybe we want to limit a couple of things, and we want to govern the experience a little bit differently than the out-of-the-box experience that you have under the opportunity object. So I have the opportunity object here, the record, and under this record already a couple of opportunity line items. I'll show you. And this one has, for example, this product selected, Genwatt diesel, quantity of 3 at 30,000, installation portable, quantity of 1 at 5,000, and so on. Now, previously with the out-of-the-box datatable component, if you wanted to do something like this, if we wanted to allow the user to make changes to the product selection, opportunity line items, then we had to do this one by one. We would have the user select a row and then make changes in components to the quantity, to the price, and then we would actually record that and kick the user back again to the same experience to do multiple changes in multiple rounds. Now, we don't really have to do that anymore. With the new functionality, everything can be on the same screen. So I'm just going to grab the ID for this opportunity and use it to debug my flow over here. So go to debug and use this opportunity ID, make sure that it's the same. It remembers, actually, this is a new feature in this release. It remembers the last record I debugged on. And I'm going to run this. Now, the first screen is a screen where we show the user all the critical fields for the opportunity. They can review and make changes. This is not the focus right now, so I'm just going to click Next. Now, they can review all the opportunity line items under this and make changes on this screen right here. Now, first of all, we allowed the user to sort by columns here. So they can actually sort by different columns. This functionality seems to support pretty much all the field types, and you get to select that when you're setting up the component. I'll show you how it's done. But in addition to that, the user can go in and say like, okay, well, you know what? This product, I don't really want 3 of this anymore. I only want 1, and I want it at 25,000, not 30,000, right? And then here I'm going to add a comment to the line description. And now I get to confirm my changes. And if I confirm my changes, these will be updated in Salesforce. And I get to also choose whether I want to add additional line items for the products that are not listed here. So I'm going to say yes, click next. And this pulls up the products in my org, and I get to select, I can search and select which ones to add here. I can say, okay, you know what? I want to add installation industrial low at 20,000. I'm not going to change the price. One of these. And here I want to add the SLA bronze, but I'm going to discount it to 5,000 and add one of these. Now, if I confirm and click next, I get a final screen where these two that I'm adding will be listed one more time for me to review. And I can say, you know what, I want to add more, which will kick me back to the same experience. Or I can say I'm done. And as a result, the product selection will be finalized. These opportunity line items will be added to the opportunity. Now, let's check what happened here. This is the same opportunity we are on. When I go to view all, I'm going to see that the changes actually got committed. You see the line item here. And we got two more line items added here. SLA bronze and installation industrial low. Now, how is that achieved? There are a couple of little tricks I used here, right? So let me just show you my flow design. So our flow starts with a get opportunity because we provide the opportunity ID as input here. So we want to get the field values for the opportunity. And then this screen displays the opportunity field values to the user. They can make changes. And for the components that we used from the standard component side, not the dynamic forms for flow side, we will have to do an assignment. That's for the amount. Currency is not supported on the dynamic forms for flow side. So we've done our assignment and we go to update. We update the opportunity with any changes that might have happened on that screen. Now, after that, we are going to get the opportunity products for this opportunity, all the opportunity product records. And then we have this screen. This is our opportunity line item screen. And we feed this data table with the opportunity products collection. And that collection will be shown here. As you can see, under configure rows, this actually has the row selection mode view only selected. This term now is misleading a little bit because even if this shows view only, you can mark each of those fields on the table editable, right? It's not really view only. It means no selection is allowed or no selection is asked for. So now under columns, I have all these columns where I can go in and choose whether I want to sort by this column. I want the user to be able to sort, and I want the user to be able to edit. Now, for some fields, you're not going to be able to edit. For some other fields, like, for example, here, for quantity, you'll be able to sort and edit, right? Total price, sort and edit, and you get to select all that here. Sort and edit individually for each column. And once you set that up, you are going to see on your resources, let's go to our screen data table resources here, review product selection right here. Okay, so these are the outputs that you receive as a result of a data table in this release. So you get edited rows. This is brand new. So your edited rows will be listed here. It's a collection, and it will be a filtered collection, kind of a subset of all the rows that you see on the data table. Only the edited rows will end up here with their new values. And then you'll get first selected row and selected rows if you allow selection. Now, the UI challenge is going to be here, and we had the same thing with the UnofficialSF component. If you allow the user to make multiple selections and then also allow the user to make changes to rows, they may make changes to some rows that they don't select. And if that happens, you may need to check whether that scenario is happening, and you may need to kind of assume the edited row is going to be also selected, right? It depends on your use case, but if you ignore the selected rows that the user didn't make any changes on, that could be troublesome depending on your use case. Just wanted to point this out. And we had the same challenge with the UnofficialSF component. There could be some cases where you may need to compare these collections, and there's a challenge with that. Out of the box, it's a little bit difficult. But anyway, the opportunity here is I can actually say I'm not going to allow selections, but allow the user make changes using edit, in which case I will assume all the edited rows are the rows that the user is interested in. Like in this scenario, for example, the UI makes sense. So we have done our opportunity line item review screen, and the user can toggle this. If they toggle this, then they are going to also see another screen to add products, right? So right after the screen, we update the opportunity line items that the user edited. See, I'm passing the edited rows collection to this update. And then I'm going to check in my decision whether the user asked to add products or not. If they did, I'm going to get the Pricebook entries using the Pricebook ID that's assigned to the opportunity, and then add products here using this data table. So if the opportunity doesn't have a Pricebook ID assigned to it already, we could probably default it to the standard Pricebook. Now here on this data table, you'll see that it is being fed the Pricebook entries. And again, here we are going to let the user edit the field values for list price and quantity. Now here, the trick is Pricebook entries don't really have a number field, right? You cannot really specify quantity. To be able to capture the quantity here, what I have done is I have created a custom field called number_1__C. It's just a number field which has 16 digits before the comma and then 2 decimals, right? And I used a custom label for this, and I labeled this quantity. So this custom field allows me to capture the input by the user so that I can use it when I'm adding this to the opportunity line items. And once that selection is completed, I'm going to use transform to transform this data from the Pricebook entries to the opportunity line items. And there I'm passing, for example, the name of the Pricebook entry into a line item description. Again, using a similar trick, displaying the line item description and relabeling that to the opportunity line item name so that I can display it. And you'll see that the opportunity ID comes from the record ID that's being input into the flow, and the product 2 ID, product code, and quantity all, and the unit price, they will all come from the Pricebook entry. If the user made changes to these rows, because I'm using the edited rows output here, they will be captured. Then I'm adding these items to a collection record variable, and that collection record variable is going to be used for the creation of opportunity line items. I guess this assignment is not really necessary. I can just directly go to create. I went through a couple of versions for this flow. And this is the add more screen where I'm checking whether the user wants to add more products. And there's also a review here. And that review data table points to opportunity line item collection record variable that's used to create the opportunity line items, because your data table really requires that Each row has a unique ID, and to make sure that each row has a unique ID, you want to display this data table after create, because after create, your collection should have IDs in them. And then we have a decision that checks whether the user asked to add more products or not. If they did, then we are nullifying the opportunity line item collection and sending it back to the first step, to the step where they are allowed to add additional products. Not really first step, but the add product step. And on this side, we go to a success screen if they are done. We just tell them, success, your product selection has been finalized and recorded. So this is how I set up my flow, and this opens a lot of possibilities for flow builders. I would love to know how you are going to use this new functionality. Please give me a like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and come back for more as I publish additional videos about the new release.